Welcome to the Scientist with Heart Podcast, my open diary of academic life. This is a space where I share my personal thoughts and reflections on research, teaching, and university life. These are my own opinions, and the aim is to spark discussion, exchange perspectives, and gather insights from others navigating the academic roller coaster at the bench and in the lecture hall. When I was a PhD student at a Max Planck Institute, I was incredibly eager. You know how it is. You want to learn everything, absorb every method, understand every detail of the system you're working in. My topic was slightly different from most of the group, and that gave me a little niche. Pretty soon I realized I knew things others didn't. And that felt great. I thought, I know something valuable here and I can contribute. So in seminars and discussions, whether it was a fellow PhD student presenting or a senior researcher, I raised my hand. I added my perspective. I shared my piece of niche knowledge. And sometimes it was welcomed. People would nod, take notes, ask me questions. I felt useful. But other times, I felt the shift in the room. People looked at me like I had overstepped, as if I was talking before it was really my turn. Half the time my contributions landed, the other half they didn't. At the time, I could not understand why. I thought, but isn't knowledge valuable no matter who says it? Years later, after my PhD, in my next role, the same thing happened. I thought I could help colleagues by pointing out mistakes or suggesting improvements. After all, I had this very specific expertise from my PhD. But again, the reaction was not always positive. Sometimes it helped, sometimes it made me look arrogant. It's only in hindsight, almost a decade later, that I finally see what was going on. There is an important difference I didn't understand back then. Knowledge is not the same as expertise. Knowledge is what you gain from books, papers, methods. It is facts, techniques, niche insight. Expertise, though, it is knowledge plus time, plus practice, plus recognition from others. At age 28, I had knowledge, a lot of knowledge, but I didn't yet have the years of experience that turn knowledge into trusted expertise, and people around me felt that. When you are young and enthusiastic, it is tempting to want recognition right away. You look at senior researchers and think, wait, but I know this too. Why don't they take me seriously? The answer, frustratingly, is because expertise is something you can't rush. No matter how brilliant you are, it simply requires time. And the hard truth is, a 40-year-old saying the same thing I said at 28 would be taken more seriously. Not because they necessarily knew more, but because their words carried the weight of years. And maybe also with 40 you have a little bit more experience of how to phrase things, but that's just a side note. Why is this? Because knowing something in theory is not the same as applying it for a decade. And of course, this is now very extreme because I didn't only know things, I applied things also during my work in the lab, but not for a decade. Think about driving a car. You can read the entire manual, memorize every traffic law, pass an exam, but only after 10 years of driving in real rain, snow, traffic jams, or late nights. With this experience, then you can call the people an experienced driver. You may know the theory early, but the trust in your skill comes only with miles driving. Research works the same way. You can understand a method deeply as a PhD student or a topic, but after solving dozens of unforeseen problems, after guiding students through mistakes, after seeing your theory succeed and fail in practice, that's when you gain a kind of authority that's impossible to shortcut. So what can you do in the meantime? Just wait? No. What I wish I had done earlier and what I do now is rely on frameworks. Frameworks are like scaffolding. They keep your work professional and solid, even while you're still building true expertise. When I move into a new area of research today, and this happens all the time basically, I know I will be a beginner again at first. But I use frameworks to make sure what I produce is reliable, structured, and reflects current best practice, even before I become a real expert in the field. This way, my work is valuable right away, while I am slowly growing roots into the new topic. This is basically the message I want to share. Again, you cannot rush expertise. It's a journey, and as sad as it is, expertise is not only knowledge or a little bit of technical skill. It is recognition, trust, and accumulated practice. And that comes with time. Expertise, in the end, is more like growing a tree than flipping a switch. And you can be really angry about it. I was when I was a young PhD student because I didn't understand. But if you have this picture in mind, it's like growing a tree rather than flipping a switch. You can water the tree, you can nurture it, and you can speed the process up even a little by some gardening tricks, but mostly you need time. I would love to hear your comments and thoughts on this and start a conversation.